What is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? It's your boy Goblin, and today we're coming in with a hoot and a holler, a true banger, if you will. This story is about the time way back in high school that I got caught, well, almost caught, I'd say somewhat caught, doing Xanax in class. Listen, it was fucked up, I passed out, it got very ugly very quickly. Hope you guys enjoy this video, drop a like if you do, and also, I just got my sub button on Twitch today, baby. Hey, link will be at the top of the description. Smack that follow button. If you guys have Twitch Prime, hey, smack that sub button. I greatly appreciate it. Hey, I love you guys. Let's get it cracking, dude. Twitch is busting, dude. We're also going to be live on YouTube later tonight. Be ready for that. Without further ado, let's dive right into it. So, this happened way back in high school. I'm talking junior year of high school. Listen, that was a very long time ago. And during this phase of my life, specifically the first semester of junior year, I was a bar fiend. And for those of you guys who have been around this channel for a while, you might remember I actually made a video that was fairly similar to this. Not entirely, but I have made a video that involved Xanax and involved this class. But it wasn't like anywhere near this. This video, this is fucked. So, this happened way back in my first semester junior year of high school, which at this point was like 4 or 5 years ago now. I think that's 4 years ago. No, that might even be 5 now, actually. Yeah, that was like 4.5, 5. Jesus Christ. Either way, too long ago. And way back then, I was going through a pretty heavy Xan phase, right? I was at the point where I was taking bars pretty much every day in first period, and then just making it through to lunch and then taking them again at lunch. And this class, I had an AP government class. This class happened to be right after lunch. And for those of you guys who are no good delinquents, you know that lunchtime is intoxication time, right? You know that when you go to school, lunchtime is when you know, it's round 2, dude. You wake and bake, you do whatever you got to do before you get to school, then you suffer, and once you get to lunch, you do it all over again, dude. That's exactly what everyone does. So, me being me, of course, I'm going through my day, and I'd popped a bar already in first period, right? Like, that was already fine and dandy taken care of, you know? So, I was coming down pretty hard, and I was fiending. And I had quite a few more to spare, dude. I had, like, listen, I don't know why I brought them to school, because I didn't even sell them, but I was a fiend, and I had, like, 10 bars on me this day, dude. It was fucked, dude. Just the little white ladders, right? So, I'm sitting at lunch, you know, and I'm trying to decide. I'm sitting with the homies. I'm like, should I pop these, you know? And Kevin's sitting next to me, right? Kevin sat at the lunch table. So, I look over to Kevin. I'm like, Kevin, bro, what should I do with these, dude? Like, should I pop them both? I'm kind of fiending, dude. And him, of course, he's like, nah, dude, you should actually wait till we snort some Adderall before gym, because we had gym class together, too, and Kevin really liked to get geeked on Addies and go lift, right? I would just snort the Addy to snort the Addy. I'm not athletic, but he would snort the shit to go work out, right? So before gym, we'd always rail some of my prescription Adderalls, right? It was a fun time. And he's like, nah, dude, you shouldn't take them, man. You should just get ready for us to snort some Adderall period after, right? God, looking back at this, wow, I was such a... we were having this conversation casually at lunch at the age of like 16. Damn. Okay. Good God, dude. Fuck. Either way. So, you know, me taking Kevin's opinion into account, you know, I'm kind of thinking about it a little bit. And I didn't really think that I had anything important ahead of me that day, right? I was like, okay, I think my day's pretty chill, because after my lunch period, I went to government, then I went to gym, and then I went to a science class. I think it was like, oh God, I don't remember what it was, like a earth science or some shit, some weird fucking class, dude. I don't know. It was kind of cool, actually. The volcano stuff was cool, but that's about it. So, either way, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I'm like, all right, well, I don't really have anything ahead of me for the day, and I'm prescribed Adderall, so I can do that at any time, right? So I'm like, you know, I'm going to pop the Xans. And, I tell Kevin, I'm like, hey, thanks for the input, dude, but I'm totally not listening to you, dude. I'm taking the Xanax. So, he starts laughing. He's like, all right, whatever, dude. So, I go over to the bathroom, right? I run in the bathroom, I got a little bottle of water with me, and I just pop both of them, because I figure, you know, I took one this morning, I'm pretty much completely down off it at this point, don't really feel it, so I'm just going to take 2, right? That's fine and dandy. Now, so, for those of you guys who may have been watching this channel for a while, you might also remember that when I was doing Xanax at school, I had, like, a pretty bad track record of, like, passing out in class off them. Right? Like, I think, I'm pretty sure I've made a video about almost all the incidents of this happening. I know for a fact I have a video on at least 3 of the different incidents of this happening. Right? And there's quite a few more, this being one of them. So, I did not always have the best track record with that, right? But I popped these hands in the middle of lunch. And I'm chilling. And our lunch was pretty long, right? Because on top of it just being a long-ass lunch, I also would never go to the next class on time. Like, I'd always linger in the hall for 5 to 10 minutes because my AP Gov teacher was kind of cool about it and realized that, hey, this kid's a crackhead and doesn't really care. And honestly, I don't really remember how I even got into the AP class, dude. It was the smart kid class. All the other people in here actually did their homework. They all had like immaculate looking textbooks and notebooks. They took notes the whole period, and I was like the one kid in that whole class who was not on that shit at all. Like I had friends in that class. Don't get me wrong. Like, some of the kids in there were friends with me, but also a lot of those kids fucking hated me because I would just show up drooling on myself every day, bro. And they just did not like me very much in that class. So either way, of course, I come barging in like 10 minutes late. And this class was, listen, this was one of the most boring classes ever. Not because of the teacher. The teacher was a nice lady, but my fucking God, dude, I don't care about what George Washington did with his dick, dude. I don't care about what Thomas Jefferson signed or who he signed it for, dude. I don't even care if his wife had a nice rack. I don't give a shit, bro. It means nothing to me, right? It never has and it never will. So I would sit down in this class, and 90% of the time, unless it was about like ancient like war generals, I liked hearing about like those crazy Mao Zedong motherfuckers, you know, like Genghis Khan, dude. Those just wild sons of bitches, you know. Like I liked hearing about those kind of guys, you know. But I didn't like hearing about all the boring like old American dudes, you know, like fuck those guys. But either way, so I'm sitting in class. And maybe like 5 minutes into the, you know, me already being 10 minutes late for class, it smacked me pretty much immediately, dude. Like, I was hit. I was sitting there and I was pretty much completely rock sober. And I luckily at this point, we were later in the semester, so I got to move to a different spot, and I had a way nicer spot. For those of you guys who remember the story, I had a classmate in this class who I was sitting next to who I accidentally sent a picture of my penis to. It was bad. Luckily, we got moved. So this was when we were good to go on that. No concern there. Oh man, god damn. The more I tell this story, the more I remember like how fucked up this class was actually. So either way, I'm sitting in the back corner, right? And I'm chilling out, la-di-da-di-da, and the Xans fucking hit me, dude. And I immediately just get smacked, dude. And my seat wasn't in the back corner, but I would always, like, trade with the kid behind me. I'd just kind of tell him, like, dude, please give me your seat. And he'd be like, all right, you know. So we'd switch up, you know. So I'm sitting in the back corner, shit smacks me, dude. Immediately, my whole body just feels like I've just gotten a whole, like, just weight wrapped around me. Like, I just put on, like, a suit, and it's clenching to my body, and I'm just sinking into the chair, dude. I'm sitting there, and I'm like, holy fuck. And the thing is, I was not paying attention to begin with. I was not paying attention, like, at all. So I didn't really notice a difference, like, educationally, in terms of, like, what information I was gathering before or after the Xan. It made no difference, right? But what did make a difference is me starting to slowly fall into a slumber, right? And I remember I had a classmate next to me. What are we going to call this guy? Honestly, he's probably never going to see this video, so we're just going to call him Anuj, because that was his name, dude. I can't think of a fake name for the guy. Cool guy. But either way, so he's sitting next to me, and we're chatting a little bit, and I'm, like, slumping over, dude. And he keeps tapping on me. He's like, are you good, man? And, like, I've known this kid for years. Like, he wasn't going to snitch or anything, you know? Like, I've known this guy since elementary school. But he's tapping me. He's like, yo, are you good, bro? Like, what's going on? Are you all right, man? And, like, of course, Anuj is also trying to, like, pay attention, you know, because he's not doing it. But I just remember, like, constantly just getting nudged by Anuj and, like, just looking over at him and just going back down. Eventually, he tapped out on it, obviously. Well, either he tapped out or I just completely blacked out. I don't really know. But all I remember is this, right? I knock out, right? I wake up, very different environment in the classroom. It's pretty much empty. There's, like, one student talking to the teacher, right? I wake up. There's a little piece of paper under me. It's a quiz. I just never completed it. Now, luckily, because I passed the fuck out, I thought that I was fine. I thought, like, oh, because I kept falling asleep, I'm good to go. That's all I did. Like, that's all I recalled from this day, right? I was just like, okay, perfect, fine, and dandy. I don't think I was acting like an idiot or anything. We're good to fucking go. So I'm like, whatever. I get up and I just kind of leave the class. And I look over at the teacher and I'm like stumbling out of the class. I'm still barred the fuck out. Like, just because I slept doesn't mean I slept as off. No. I'm barred. So I'm like stumbling out of the class, and I like, dude, there's just drool, like there's still like a drool stain on my neck because I just drooled all over my test, wrote no answers, got up and left. They just stumbled out, dude. The teacher definitely like, well, she did know. We're about to get to that, but either way. So I stumble out of the class. I think nothing of it, and I wander over to gym. Right. The rest of the day is completely fine. Rest of the day, nothing happens. Right. But in my earth science class, I then have a class with another buddy of mine who is good friends with Anuj from my AP government class. And earth science was my final class of the day. And I sit a row ahead of him. And he taps me on the shoulder, and I turn around. At this point, I'm not as barred out. I got through gym, literally. I just AFK'd in gym either way, okay? Like, the gym teacher never enforced anything. So, like, being barred out in gym was not hard. Like, I actually could have just gone to bed in that class if I wanted to. But we would just go into the weight room and just sit in the corner. Like, no one would actually do anything. But either way. So when earth science rolls around, I'm not that barred anymore. Like, I'm pretty barred, but I'm not, like, passing out. Like, I can stay conscious, you know? Granted, all my answers are god-awful, but I'm conscious enough to get through my day and know what's going on, right? But I remember I get told by Anush's buddy. He's like, "Yo, dude, I heard you were a little out of it earlier. You good?" And I'm like, I just straight up told him. I was like, "Oh, dude, I'm off a couple bars, you know, like shit, dude." But like, what did he say, right? He's like, "Oh, dude," he said, like, "you're really fucked up. Like, people, like, everyone was like looking at you and shit." And I'm like, I mean, he's my homie, so maybe he's just joking around, you know, maybe he's just talking a little shit behind my back, but like, I don't remember any of that information, right? Like, that doesn't sound right to me. All I remember is just taking a nice little nap, dude, and I woke up, teacher didn't even say nothing to me. I just got to leave, right? He's like, "Oh, you know, okay, well, that's good, you know?" We just don't talk about anything. So I go home, and I come back to school the next day, and I'm sitting in like my second or third period class, and I get pulled out of it. And at this point, I'm trying to figure out what I just got pulled for, because whenever you get called down to the office, they don't send whoever's like pulling you out. They always send like a staff assistant. So you have to sit there and play the guessing game of what you're about to get in trouble for until it's too late, right? So I'm walking down the hallway and like, did I smell like weed? You know, I'm thinking like, did I say something to someone? Like, was it like a fight or something? Like just what the fuck happened, right? And I get to the office. And I get pulled into the security officer's room. And that's always worse than the dean, because the dean, it could just be like a disciplinary thing, or like a little like, "Oh, why are your grades so shit?" I don't care, bro. Suspend me. But when you get pulled into the security guy's office, the school cop, then you're actually potentially in some trouble that matters, right? So he pulls me in there. He sits me down, and he's all being nice. I had plenty of encounters with this guy. And he's like, "Oh, how you doing this morning, Nick?" And I'm all fine and dandy. I'm, of course, smiling. I'm like, "Oh, I'm doing good. How are you?" He tells me to have a seat. I sit down. He's like, "So," he gets just straight the fuck to the point. He goes, "We heard that you were a little out of it in your government class yesterday." And I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay. And at this point, it's the next day. I don't really know why, like, I was not pulled in the same day. It doesn't make sense to me. But maybe they were just trying to catch me the next day because they knew I'd already taken what I had. I don't know. I didn't. I still had like 8 more Xans in my bag yesterday. They would have nailed me hard. They would have fucked me in the face if they searched me that day. But luckily, I came to school the next day and I didn't bring any. Joke's on them. I already took them in the morning, stupid motherfucker. So either way, and because I was planning on doing Adderall gym that day, stupid fucking Kevin, and Adderall's my prescription. So I actually, like, I was allowed to bring my Addy to school. They just didn't know I snorted it, but like I was like fully like allowed by the nurse, like, you know, doctor's note, like, to bring an Addy to school, right? So either way, we're chilling out, we're talking a little bit, you know, and he's just asking me how my day's going. He's like, "Oh, so, you know, do you know like anything about that, or like, do you know what was going on?" And I'm sitting there and I'm just like, obviously my excuse is like, "Oh, I was just really exhausted. I didn't sleep very well, you know." And he goes, "Oh, well, you know, we talked to your other teachers and they said you seem just fine." And I'm like, how much of like an investigation did these motherfuckers just do into me drooling on a quiz? Like, I don't remember me seeming very fucked up whatsoever, dude. Like, at all, dude. I had no recollection of it. So I'm sitting there and I'm just like, oh, like, I was just really tired. Like, I was just napping. And he's like, "Oh, okay. Well, do you mind just handing your backpack to me?" And me being me, you know, I just hand it right over. I didn't actually have anything. Very fortunately, I had Xans in the morning, but I took them. And luckily, I only took a few, and I took them earlier in the morning, right? I took them like right when I woke up as opposed to like on the way to school. So I wasn't like peak barred out, and I wasn't going to pass the fuck out on this guy, right? So he's searching my bag. He's looking through my stuff. Busts out the bag I have with my Adderall prescription in it. Of course, he knows that I was prescribed to bring Adderall, right? I was supposed to take an extended release in the morning, and then later in the afternoon around lunch, I actually was prescribed another instant release because, like, my ADD's fucked, dude. I need a lot of meds for it. But either way, he's looking through my shit. He pulls that out. He's like, oh, is this your, what is this? I'm like, oh, this is my prescription, dude. And he's like, oh, okay. Puts that back in there. He's looking through the rest of my bag. And of course, it's a little stanky in there. There's like little like shrapnel of like blunt guts on the bottom of my bag. But he wasn't one of those kind of school cops. I was going to get suspended for having like one leaf of tobacco at the bottom, right? He was just looking for the drugs. And of course, he doesn't find any. So he gives me my bag back and he's like, oh, well, are you sure, there's like nothing, you want to say? Because, you definitely should start paying more attention and making better choices in school, Nick, And he gives me this little talk and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I was just really out of it. It was circumstances. I couldn't control all this fucking bullshit. And he lets me out of there. I immediately, first thing I do, I hop on Snapchat. I hit up a news. I'm like, yo, dude, like, what the fuck was going on? Yes. Like, all I remember is you, like, trying to keep me awake. What was going on? And he just replies, LMAO, all fucking caps, and just unleash. He's like, dude, you were an idiot. He was like, every time the teacher asked if anyone knew the answer to something, you would yell it the fuck out like 50% of the time. He was like, it wasn't every time, but it was pretty bad. And it got to the point where the whole class was just kind of pretending you weren't there. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, bro, what? Like, I don't remember. All I remember is falling asleep. And that's what I told him. And he's like, yeah. Towards the end, you were falling asleep, like the last, 15 minutes. But he was like, before that, you weren't really falling asleep, dude. You were just kind of an idiot. And I was like, oh, all right. Well, I mean, thanks for the heads up, dude, I guess. But god damn, dude, it was fucked. I'm just glad I got away with it because, honestly, if the timing was even a little bit worse, this could have been a completely different story. But, hey, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Drop a like if you did. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to follow my Twitch. Hey, use your Twitch Prime sub, baby. Smack that sub button. Thank you all so much. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.